you know, the Bible says you look up to Jesus, looking up to Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. You look up as in you look up out of yourself, look unto God. Yeah. But when it comes to your neighbor, just open your eyes. Who do you see when you're going out? Who do you see? Who do you live right by? Who do you, when you go out to drop your kids at school, the teacher that you meet, the gate man that you meet, when you're driving by, those that you see on the road, those are your neighbors. People, you don't need to go looking for them. Your neighbors are the ones that you meet every day. They are the people that you meet each day. Now, there's this, there's something that happened recently that brings that, home to me very much. I had been kind of solitary for a while. I have not been making too much contact and all, just stay in the house. Wherever it is I am, whether in Abuja or Lokoja, I just stay by myself, not seeking out friends or anyone to talk with or play with or anything. So being by myself for quite a while. So this new environment where I found myself, I do not really know people roundabout. So at a point last, as I taught once on this program, that when you receive any money, put aside a certain percentage to share. And so I do that practice. So I was now thinking, no, I have some amount of money and I wanted to give things to the poor. So I started thinking, so I say I've not met the poor recently. I have not been seeing poor people. I have not. As I was thinking and everything, I asked my PA, I said, do you know any poor around this environment? We just came here. I don't know. I said, okay, you will send some things to my former neighbors. I said, but who are the people around me? To cut a long story short, by the time I slept and I was thinking and I woke up, I was like, why am I looking so far for the poor? Does it have to be the poor? My neighbor is the very person in front of me, even the very PA that I was talking with, even the assistants that I just thought of, the people that I know that look up to me. They are not too far from me. They are always, saying, good afternoon, madam, mommy. And I was like, wow, this is the mistake that many also make. We're looking for the poor, the Bible says, Jesus says, simply said, love the Lord your God with all your heart. Yeah, love your neighbor as yourself. Your neighbor, it's like on the same pedestal. You love God, you love man, you love your neighbor. God made sure he defined how you will love man. I mean, who is the man that you're going to love? Your neighbor. You don't have to go look for I don't have to go and look for the neighbor of my friend. I don't have to go. Your neighbor. You don't have to go looking for them. They are nearer than you think. Sometimes, some of us will carry things and take to motherless home, which is good. Take to motherless home, take to prisons and all that. In fact, that is another thing entirely. We'll talk about it. Going to prisons to go and visit people. Jesus, commended it. But when you're talking about your neighbor, your neighbor is every day in your eye. Or in your mind, or they are out there. When it comes to the poor, here is the thing: your neighbor is not the same as the poor, because your neighbor may be rich, may be richer than you, But loving your neighbor, you meet him at the point of his need. It's not necessarily money, but these are the people that God expects you, to reach out to. But when it comes to the poor, you understand. The Bible says, "Do not forget the poor, knowing that you may not live where the poor live." And the strangers, those who are trying to find their bearing, he knows that you may not, live where they live. You may not know them, but as per your neighbor, it's easy to know. So anywhere you go, you know where to find them. Now, I listen to a minister of God, and on this platform, as much as possible, I don't even want to criticize any minister of God at all. You understand? Everybody to his own calling, but I listened to him, and because he was criticizing, is why I'm bringing it up here. And he was talking about a minister that he listened to, who was teaching on national transformation. That on Sunday, he just said, today we're talking on national transformation. and he was ridiculing and messing up that, and feeling that that idea is totally anti what God preached. I said, what? The whole Bible is divided into Old and New Testament. The Old Testament is more than the New Testament. All God was doing was teaching, was helping Israel to form to write down their constitution, and then how to follow the constitution, and how they are updating their constitution. That's all that was. I mean, all through the Old Testament we see that, and everything God was doing with the people, He was doing with the nation. And why is there a need for national transformation? It's because of you and because of your neighbors, because you also are a neighbor, because of the human beings that are in it. And so that, I mean, the human beings are the core of the thing. Just as I said yesterday, it's 100% spiritual. Life is 100% spiritual, 100% physical. Same way, you love God 100%. You love man 100%. You know, you cannot love God if you cannot love man. So your neighbor is easier to see than you think. Your neighbor is easier to see than you think. Just look, just open your eyes. Your neighbor is there. You don't have to go to the east or west to look for your neighbor. It may be the wealthy man next to you. He has a need. You understand? At least first and foremost, just make acquaintance, or just be kind, be polite, just something, you know. Your neighbor that you meet when you go to your children's school, that you meet when you go to work, that you meet your neighbor. They are the people that you meet each day. You meet the fireman, you meet the NEPA man, you meet and all of them are requiring, I mean, are in need of the love that you can give, the love that Jesus has placed inside your heart.